And on to our final segment. Still kind of involved with the whole like prices going up, people can't afford
Speaking
stuff.
of boomers ruining everything.
Yeah, speaking of boomers ruining everything, inflation soars to 3.3% in March. Prediction markets now see a 63% chance of it hitting 4% in 2026. Which, we still got like 9 months, like 8 months left, so anything can happen for sure. That's kind of a big bet. Well, investment. I want to. Okay, so March 2026 had just delivered the hottest inflation print in nearly 2 years, and prediction markets are already pricing a 63% chance that the inflation. Oh wait, hold on a second. No, I wanted. I forgot something I was gonna look up. California paper fire. Da-da-da. So I'm gonna. I don't want to bring up USA Today because they might play a video, and I don't want a video. Uh, cool. All right, so I'm gonna close that. Okay, so before I continue, I wanted that up. All right. Nearly 2 years, and prediction markets are already pricing a 63% chance that exceeds 4% before the year is out. For investors holding equities and fixed income, the next few months hinge on a single variable: whether the U.S.-Iran ceasefire holds. Let's blah blah blah. This morning's CPI report. Sorry, my boss looked at me. Energy drove everything. The consumer
See,
price.
see, see, see.
Okay.
They couldn't do that in the past. That's working. Having to read a message from that should count as work. That's work. You should have got paid like 15 cents for that right now.
For sure, yeah.
I'm not even
I'll take it.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking, by the way. Like this level of access is insane. It's so detrimental to people's work-life balance, which is something that, people in the past, I'm sure we've all heard boomers be like, back in my day, we didn't care, but we didn't have a work-life balance. We just went to work and we didn't complain. It's like, no, 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 no. You don't you don't understand this now because you're a manager and you're the one invading my work-life balance, or because you're retired, it doesn't matter to you anymore. But you could go home and not hear from your boss all day. You could go home on Friday and not have to worry about hearing from your boss unless there's an emergency and they called you home, until Monday morning. You got 72 hours, kind of probably closer to 48 hours of just freedom
Mm-hmm.
from your boss. No contact, no worries, all your paper done and checked. If there's an issue, it would be brought up on Monday. You could deal with it then. You had a work-life balance because the materials and the technology of the time permitted one to exist. There wasn't disability for your boss's email to pop up in your inbox when you got home, or over the weekend, or a text on your phone while you're trying to do something that you spiked your cortisol levels, right? It's unironically stressful, and it puts, like, there is no work-life balance. It's work in the office and work at home, and trying to set those boundaries as a younger person, right? To be like, listen, hey, I don't read my emails at home. I read my emails at work because they're work emails. If they're
Mm-hmm.
urgent, you can give me a phone call, but I don't read work emails and I don't read work texts.
Yeah.
Like, doing, like, but when you put up these barriers now you run the risk of basically everyone else undercutting you, for people who think they don't care as much about their work-life balance and are willing to destroy themselves like this. When in the past, that was much harder for someone to do because the technology literally was not capable of doing that, to the same degree. There was landlines, right? If I was out driving around and I was like, hey, I'm just going to go for a drive. And I said, okay. My beautiful wife was like, all right, we'll see. Maybe I'd take her with me, right? We go for a drive. And my boss calls my home. Guess who's not home? Guess who can't answer that call? Guess who's having ice cream and doesn't have to worry about work? Who doesn't have to worry about, like, any of this stuff? Like, that's what I mean when I say, like, work-life balance. Like,
Yeah, I
the
gotcha.
the you are working effectively. You might have a 40-hour week job, but if you're getting texts and emails at home and you're doing work on your home computer, that's 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 work. Reading a text, that count however long it's, that's work. Now, obviously, I understand that we can't do like, pay per like time reading text, or stuff like that. Like there's limitations around like practicality. But additionally, man, it's so much harder to escape the world of work now. And you're effectively working so many more hours for effectively so much less pay. Unironically, your hourly pay might be, you might be working let's say $71,000 a year is the average, 70,000, right? And let's say that's, over 40 weeks, so 52 weeks a year, you probably get like a roughly a cumulative week, 2 weeks, you get your 2 weeks of vacation, or you however long, 2 weeks of vacation. You however long a vacation you get, we'll say a week of vacation, or 2 weeks, that way we'll say a week of vacation, about a week of holidays, right?
Yeah.
So that way, there's 50 weeks in a year. Okay, so, 70 divided by 50, what does that go?
Oh yeah. Oh,
He
50
doesn't know.
divided by
All right.
70. Sorry, I was about to take a drink.
No, you're good. We're looking at, what's that, like 1.2? Do I have that
uh,
backwards?
well, you said 50 divided by 70. Yeah, you have 5/7. So you're looking at, I don't know, like 65%.
I'm a marketing guy. I'm not a finance guy. Okay.
I got you. I got
So
you.
it's 70 divided by 50.
Oh,
So
70 divided by
whatever,
50.
that's your weekly paycheck.
Yeah, you're looking at 1.3, maybe 1.4.
Okay. So you've got like, so your weekly paycheck, you're making, $1.3 thousand every week. So 1,300 bucks every week. That's assuming you're working, and that's for every 40 hours a week, you make 1,300 bucks. So, 1.4 divided by, or 1.3 divided by 4, that you're making roughly $30 an hour, a little bit more than, um, 35-ish, I think is the number. Um, but let's say we start including all of that time you spend reading emails at home. You spend, um, this is a bit of a soft metric, but like stuck in work brain because your boss is texting you, doing all this other stuff outside of work because it's invaded your life so much. You would probably kick that number of hours worked up to like maybe 60 hours a week. Like it can really invade your time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so now you're not actually making $35 an hour. What you're actually making is closer to 20 something dollars an hour. Right?
Yeah, because you're not getting paid for that.
Because you're
So
you're
it's
not
coming
getting
out of
paid
your
for an
pay.
additional.
Yeah.
So you're working more. You're actually making $20 an hour. So if you were making $20 an hour over the course of, right, you're working a $20 an hour job, you're just working 60-hour weeks, as opposed to a $35 an hour job working 40-hour weeks. This is why, 4-day work weeks are, so popular, is because the actual amount that you're working per day is more than the actual listed amount, right? You might only clock in for, a 40-hour week. Your actual working hours maybe are closer to 50 or 60. Um, and so, if you were to shrink that down to a 4-day work week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or if you're a freak, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Or if you're an extra freak, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, take the Wednesday off. Um, Now you're actually looking at probably something, if you're working, okay, instead of 8 hours a day, it's 10 hours a day. That's over 40 days, that's 40 hours, right? Because that's how much it's invaded your life. Okay, yeah, no, I can see that. You're now back down to 40 hours a week, of 40 hours of actual work, effectively, as far as like compensation is concerned. But yeah, that's just what I was getting. It was like we in the past we worked and we didn't complain, and every generation forward, this soft generation of babies work more than 40 hours a week. You're right, my fault, Mr. Johnny Underwater Welder, working 920-hour weeks, and you haven't taken a day off since the World War Napoleon. Um, my fault, but like, for the vast majority of people, you were not actually working 40-hour weeks, and you had a physically built in, via the limitations of technology, work-life balance. Now, There is no work-life balance because your laptop and your phone are with you always. There is no, and this is assuming like white collar job, right? If you're making 70K, you're probably working a white collar job. Um, you're always on call, basically. You're all even if you're not on call, you're on call. So you're always on call, and you're always doing small snippets of work here and there and here and there and here and there, and you don't get as many breaks. People are taking less and shorter breaks, or fewer and shorter breaks. Um, and it just invades your life. So you're working probably at least a 50-hour week, and you don't have work-life balance anymore because those additional 10 hours are sprinkled out at random parts of your evenings and afternoons. So there really isn't consistent long periods of rest time or away time from work. Um, yeah, like you're probably doing you're doing more work for less pay on a dollar that goes less far. But sure, Grandpa, my fault. I forgot to buy a house
When I was born.
10 years before I was born for 6 nickels and a raspberry, and then sell it for $3.9 million. I should have thought of that.
Should have, yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
sell my stock options that I bought at the beginning of one of the longest bull runs in all of economic history in the entire world. My fault.
Yeah, decisions. But
Decisions.
yeah, I gotcha. But we'll get back to this real quick. The consumer price index increase is seasonally adjusted 0.9% in March, pushed the annual inflation rate to 3.3%, the highest since April 2024, and up sharply from 2.4% in February. Both the monthly and annual figures came in line with the Dow Jones consensus, which is why markets are largely shrugging off CPI data today. As of noon, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 0.5%, while the S&P 500 is down 0.15%. The culprit for March's rise is what you expect: rising oil prices. Energy prices surged 10.9%, with gasoline surging 21.2% and accounting for nearly three-quarters of the headline price increase, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Iran conflict, which began at the end of February, was the primary driver. Beneath the headlines was considerably calmer. Core CPI, blah blah. Food prices were unchanged for the past month and up 2.7% annually. Food at home fell 0.2%. Eggs fell 3% in March and have tumbled 44% over the past year. Airline fares jumped 2% for workers. The report carried a sting. Real earnings decreased 0.6% for the month. Average hourly earnings rose just blah blah blah. But really good 12 months, yeah. Okay, so we bring all that now. Inflation's going up. Like, I know they brought like the Dow Jones Industrial Averages barely changed. Yes, maybe barely changed. I do want to point out there is a difference between what the stock market's doing and what your wallet is doing. There might be a correlation in the long run between the two, but in general, just because the market's down doesn't mean you're down. Now, granted, we are down, but just because the market's unchanged doesn't mean that you're not getting changed. Now, I say that because I do sympathize with the dude. Well, not really the dude. Like his statements. So a couple days ago, there was a massive fire in. I guess I'll just click on MSN and risk the video. Yeah, don't play it. I can't even pause it. There we go. MSN. California fire wipes out toilet paper warehouse that served 50 million people. A raging fire believed to be arson wiped out 1.2 million square foot tissue paper paper warehouse in California. Now, I have to assume cause I saw a TikTok of a dude in a warehouse. He opened up the toilet paper and he put a lighter to it and caught them on fire. It could be a stunt. It could be AI. I am more and more fooled every day by AI. So for sure that could be it. But it did seem like this is what was, so he was setting the toilet paper on fire, and he had a few stacks of them in the warehouse on fire, and they cut to the warehouse fire. So could be AI. I will absolutely admit I didn't dive too far into it, but according
Oh,
to
the warehouse stuff? Yeah, I think that's real. I'm pretty sure it was real.
oh no, the warehouse stuff. Yeah, I don't know about the video that got posted. You know what I mean? It could have been like someone
Ah,
saw the fire. It's like, oh, I'll make a hey Grok, generate me an image of a dude setting toilet paper in a factory fire. You know what I mean? So I'm only like the toilet paper factory fire real. I'm just commenting on what the dude was saying because he was saying in the video, according to him and everyone else in the comments who agreed with him, which is like 20,000 people commented, basically agreeing. I'm not saying they all agreed, but he basically said all you had to do was pay us enough to live, and because you don't, I'm gonna do this. He said that over and over again. All you had to do was pay us enough to live, and like I sympathize with that. We've stated it before that prices are going up. You can't afford homes. You can't afford cars. Now, I sympathize. I do. That being said, this terrorism, which is what it is, this terrorism does not hurt the millionaires or the billionaires. This hurts the people who need to wipe their bums because the same amount of people need to wipe their asses. Now there is less supply of that toilet paper to do so. So, basic economics. Demand stays the same, supply goes down, prices go up because now everybody wants that dwindling supply. Now, granted, I'm sure there's more toilet paper to go around. I'm just making an analogy here. Like, now, you might be saying, oh, well, now they have to, make all the toilet paper again. They have to rebuild the factory. Sure, but let's not pretend that that building wasn't covered by insurance. Now the company, whatever it was, just got a fat paycheck,
mm-hmm.
and a fat paycheck for that. Not only that, because it was arson, not on their fault. They'll probably get an extra bonus on top of that. To one, they're gonna get the money to build the factory. Two, they don't have to pay their employees for that time because there's no work to be done. All that money to building the factory is going to the construction people, so they don't worry about that. So they don't have to pay their employees, and they'll probably get a fat stack because it was a crime. So guess what? The rich people probably just got richer, if not stayed the same. And even if that wasn't the case, we talk about millionaires and billionaires, whatever. They can absorb this.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation's not a problem. Inflation's not a problem for rich people because they can absorb it. They don't care that house prices are going up because in their mind, they'll buy the house, it'll go up anyways, then they can sell it later. They can absorb the cost. The average everyday people who can't buy homes, can't buy cars, they're going to struggle. Nah, probably not struggle. I mean, like, there's probably other
It's gonna
toilet
hurt.
paper. It's gonna hurt them, and not only that, they're gonna probably other toilet paper companies are probably going to have to pay more money to increase their security. So they pay more money to increase security. Guess who's going to be paying for that secretly? The people buying the toilet paper, because so their prices are
Mm-hmm.
going to increase. So while I do sympathize with like all you had to do was pay us enough to leave, this this helped the toilet paper company. This helped the toilet paper company, and this hurt the working. Okay, I say working. I'm assuming, I'm making the assumption that most millionaires have bidets, but this
That's
hurt.
true.
I have to imagine, but
I'd be imagining it too.
this hurts the people who need to buy the toilet paper, because now there's again. This is basic economics. I don't even need the
Yep.
notes to tell you this. Same amount of demand, low supply, price jacks up. So I want to get
You
back on
know,
there.
in the spirit of fairness, I will give it to the guy. You know, they finally firebombed the Walmart.
Oh, I
It
know, right?
finally happened. If any of our listeners are unfamiliar, look up a firebomb Walmart tweet. And if the stuff from this doesn't show up, you should be able to see it. It's a text tweet, which basically goes something along the lines of people on Twitter will say, "Oh, you believe in voting? That pales in comparison to my strategy of firebombing a Walmart," and then proceed to not firebomb a Walmart. But congratulations to this guy for actually,
Yeah, actually, you know what?
getting around to firebombing a
At least,
Walmart.
yeah,
They did it.
he's got
It was a dumb
cojones.
thing to
I'll
do,
give him that. He's got
right?
cojones. It didn't
He's
go. I mean, it went the way he expected it. It's not hurting the people it's expecting it, but at least he
uh
did it. Most people don't follow their
there's
dreams.
this
This guy
there's a
does.
certain level. There's a certain level. It's the There's a certain level of respect that you have to give to the real like saboteur, like someone who went out of their way to mess stuff up for everyone. It was like, yeah, it took you some gumption to actually do that, whether that's mental insanity or whatever. You actually did something.
Yeah, and
Maybe a bad thing, but
now,
you did
now,
something.
now, I don't know if this is true. I didn't fact check it. I was driving home today, and my girlfriend brought it up that I guess they may have found the guy. So the video might have been real. I don't know. They found the guy, but apparently he doesn't even work for the factory. He just broke in,
In-
set it on fire, called it a day.
Incredible.
Again, I didn't look into it. So, and my thing is like, maybe it's because I'm cultured. I'll give it that. Maybe I'm cultured. But if you really want to stick it to specifically the toilet paper companies and you don't want to spend a lot of money, get a Tabo. It's in the
Yeah.
Philippines. A Tabo is essentially a plastic cup that you use like a poor man's bidet. You just pour it down and you can fill it up in the sink. You know what I mean? So if you really wanted to stick it to the toilet paper company, which my thing is like all you had to do was pay us enough to live. It's like out of all the people, it was the toilet paper man. Like at least once a day, the poop man is here and I owe him money. You know what I mean? Like this is hurting me.
No.
So I mean like I don't know. Uh, Again, like we're an economics channel, so I have to talk about the economics of it. Inflation's going up, and we say up. It's not like crazy amounts, not like in the beginning of COVID, but it's enough to be like, let's see where this is going. I didn't bring up any articles recently, I guess. Um, so Iran put a toll on the Strait of Hormuz. So to counter that, the U.S. put a toll
Toll
in
the
front
Strait
of
of
them
Hormuz.
on the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't know how that'll go. And then
If you don't take your guns out of my face, I will kill myself.
and then I guess the U.S. is now selling oil, which kind of goes to what I was speaking about a couple weeks ago. That like this was tinfoil hat moment. They bombed the leader, like 30 leaders of Iran, destabilized their country when it comes to oil. We have an oil source in Venezuela. And I guess a bunch, this is recent reports. Haven't looked too far into it, but I guess a bunch of countries are sending their ships over to us to buy our oil. So, again, I haven't looked too far into it. I can't give you all the economics of it, but this kind of refers back to the tariff thing. Like, my problem with tariffs is that we didn't have anything to sell in the United States, so there was no competition. So there was no reason for the, you know, uh, countries outside of the United States to absorb the tariff. So they would just put the price back on us. But here we go. We now have competition with the oil. So now tinfoil hat, not a lot of research. Granted, mine. We're now selling oil. Countries are coming to us. We've already put a toll on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran already put a toll on the Strait of Hormuz. So one of two things are going to happen. One, nothing changes. The tolls are there. We get money from tolls if they even decide to go through there. We get money from that, and we sell oil. Now, granted, that's generating money for the government, not for you. So keep that in mind. Or B, this is going to put a lot of pressure on Iran. They get their shit together, remove the toll, we remove our toll, which with the tariff thing Trump did, I don't even see that happening. But and then that opens up, so we have Strait of Hormuz getting oil, and people getting oil from the U.S. Things go back smoothly. I hope it's not. It's never smoothly. Adults are just like children. You put everybody in a room, and not everybody's gonna get along. But
What's that song? High school never ends.
yeah, essentially. Oh my god. But maybe we'll do a segment on Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, we're gonna call it there. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.